Carson Wentz has always been an extremely volatile player. Going back to even his MVP caliber season in 2017, if you look at the numbers there, first and second down, he was really average to below average, and then played like a Patrick Mahomes on steroids to bail himself out on third down. And this was a precedent that was set in week 1 of that season on like the very first drive. You can check this series out. The first throw of the year, he's going to underthrow a deep bomb that should have been picked off. And then right after that, he's going to, walk into pressure and get sacked. And then after that, when it's 3rd and 12, he's going to stand in a collapsing pocket, scramble around, make guys miss, and complete one of the best touchdowns you'll ever see in your life on the 3rd and 12. So that's all well and good if you can do it, but no one can live like that for a long period of time, I'm not going to pretend that I don't see the appeal in Carson Wentz. The high-end talent, the high-end throws are going to be there with him for a long time yet. And I know that there are people in Washington who've seen this firsthand, because there was a point in Wentz's prime on the Eagles where he beat them 5 straight times doing shit like this. And I know that these aren't the best stats to look at, but 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, a winning record at the helm as a quarterback last season. I get it for Washington. They tried to go get Russell Wilson. He didn't want to go there in this barren quarterback market. I get looking at this and saying Wentz is the best option that we have. However, Carson Wentz is going to turn 30 years old this season. He's been in the league for a while now. He's been on playoff contending rosters for most of that. The Eagles made the playoffs this year as soon as he left. They won the Super Bowl when he got hurt. What does he have to show for this? He has 3 yards in the playoffs. The closest thing we've seen to playoff Carson Wentz, and this is because of a variety of factors, injuries being a big one, but the closest thing we've seen to playoff Carson Wentz was this Week 18, win-you're-in type of game against the worst team in football for 2 straight years, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I think that this game is like the perfect microcosm of Carson Wentz and why you just can't win a Super Bowl with him. And it wasn't that he played just awful. He had enough really good throws in this game to make me say he played okay. He played all right. Like this throw, for example, one of the best throws of the entire year. Here, it looks like cover 1. It looks like the strong safety's down, as in a robber situation, 1 high. Looks like all these guys are manned up. Man coverage, cover 1 is what this coverage looks like pre-snap, but post-snap, they spin and it turns into cover 6, it looks like. This guy is going to go cover this half of the field, and then there's 2 other DBs that take these quarters, right? That's cover 6. And when Wentz sees that, what he wants to do is attack the middle of the field here in the vacated space after the safety bails to the boundary side here. Now you got T.Y. Hilton on a linebacker here, and what Wentz is going to try to do is float this over the linebacker into the vacated space. He's looking off the safety here by watching Pittman. And honestly, it's kind of funny because I think Pittman might be the easier guy to throw to here because he's in single coverage and he seems to have a step on his guy. But Wentz is going to throw it to T.Y. Hilton and drop an absolute dime in a closing window over the head of the linebacker. And yeah, this is one of the best throws of the entire season, and we'll see it from the back angle as well. I assume he's just looking at Pittman to look him off because he makes that decision to throw so quickly once he turns his head to the middle of the field again. But you see him diagnose that safety spinning. You see the shadow right there. He's moving that way. He sees that. See his eyes move to the left, snap up the middle of the field, and immediately throw an absolute dime. Really high-level throw that not many players in the NFL can complete. And Wentz basically hit that throw twice in this game because later he's going to get another 2-high split safety middle of the field open look with a wide receiver, this time Paris Campbell, going into that space with Myles Jack, the linebacker, carrying him there. And Wentz releases this ball right now before Campbell's even clear of Myles Jack, and it lands between the 2 safeties. And if Paris Campbell didn't jump so early, that's probably a completion, right? This is a really good throw, and insane that he hit it basically twice in the same game, even though this one did end up being incomplete. We can see it from the other angle. I think that this was a very catchable ball for Paris Campbell. He just jumped a little bit too early. There were actually 3 really good Wentz throws in this game. This is the third. late in the game, kind of in crunch time. I'm debating if this is cover 1 or cover 2 because it looks like it's, too high. Although this guy steps down a little bit while he spins back and everybody else is in man coverage. So that kind of says cover 1 to me. But there's no safety going to the middle of the field, right? And right after he takes a few steps down, 20 starts backing up. So he doesn't really look like a robber in this situation. So I'm not sure if it's cover 1 or cover 2 man, but at any rate, once the safety, is flat-footed and is caught coming down a little bit, Wentz knows that this guy with separation will be able to clear him. And Wentz stands in a really messy pocket here. Sorry about the car. Under pressure, delivers an absolute dime like 60 yards down the field, right? And number 1 is not able to come down with it, but you'll see it here. Under pressure, makes his reads, and you'll see the placement. Really couldn't be much better. And this is really good defense by Campbell, who was playing really well at the end of the season. But the wide receiver has to come down with this, and Wentz did all he could do on this play. Of course, for every good Carson Wentz play, there is a really bad Carson Wentz play. And this year, he had done the best job that he's done in his career at avoiding those types of plays. He had the fewest turnovers and turnover-worthy plays that he's had in his career, but when his feet were against the coals here and the playoffs were on the line against the Jaguars, he kind of reverted. And this play's not all of his fault because there's an unblocked linebacker. The right tackle doesn't pick him up. The offensive line did a bad job all day at this. And it's on a long developing deep shot. If there's an unblocked guy, you're just going to get sacked. That's how it works. But you don't have to make a bad situation worse. And I guess to his credit, he knows that if a linebacker's blitzing, there's going to be vacated space. And he had a drag route going into that vacated space. So that's where he wants to go with the football even still. But in this situation, you can't try to do the shovel pass and you see his arm go forward. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get it still to number 14 right here. And of course he fumbles. It doesn't work. He's literally getting tackled as he tries to do it and gives the Jaguars the ball for free in the red zone here. And he knows it was a mistake. It wasn't even third down. And that trait that he's got, that Bozo Gene, is why I think it's impossible for him to win a ring, because the greatest and the coolest throws in the world won't help you win the Super Bowl if you are prone to disaster classes. To win the Super Bowl, you don't get a 7-game series. You don't get 3 strikes and you're still able to win. No, it's win or go home. You have to sweep. You have to go 4-0 against the best teams in the league. And Wentz is just not the guy built to do that. He's prone to disaster classes. He's prone to choking. And that's just the way it is. And you can win the Super Bowl with a bad quarterback and a great team. It's possible, but the brand of bad quarterback is more of a game managery safe one that limits the mistakes, and if everyone else does their job, you can still win. But Wentz is just not that kind of quarterback. He's going to make mistakes. And this, with Frank Reich, was supposed to be the situation that eliminated those. The guy who had his great 2017 season under. Like, if anyone was to iron out his issues, it was going to be him, and he was able to do it for a long time, but then in crunch time against the Jaguars, the worst team, they came back. And I think they're always going to come back with Wentz. And this isn't even getting into, leadership questions or maturity questions, which Wentz has, and Super Bowl winning quarterbacks don't have leadership questions. They don't have mentality questions. And Wentz, I remember the story that when he was hurt and the Eagles went on to win the Super Bowl without him, he was grumpy. He was mad that they were having this kind of success without him. And that's not the kind of mental makeup you want a quarterback to have. It ended ugly in Philadelphia. It ended ugly in Indianapolis. And now Washington gets their chance on him. And I get that he's probably better than Heineke. He's definitely more talented, physically talented than Heineke is. But, if you're not going to win a ring with him, what's the point? If you're not closer to that goal, why give up day 2 picks? Why give up millions and millions of dollars for a dude who doesn't get you any closer to that ultimate goal? And probably, although it might get you closer to a winning season, maybe even sets you back from winning the whole thing. So that's my take on Carson Wentz. I don't think trading for him is ever a good move, despite maybe him being an upgrade in the regular season. But anyway, if you've had really horrible quarterback play for so long, maybe it's good to just get okay to decent regular season quarterback play, just to save your job if you're a head coach, or to give the fans like something to root for in a new era if you really think there's nothing better. So I can see it a little bit, but overall, I just don't think it's a great move. So I was trying to think of like an NBA equivalent to him, and I thought of Eric Bledsoe, because that's a dude who could score from anywhere. That's an athletic guy, but in the playoffs, he'd always get cold. He would always get cold in crunch time, and he's just not a guy you could depend on. And I looked at his college scouting report, and I looked at the weaknesses, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is Eric Bledsoe. He can go get you a bucket, but if he's leading your team, you're screwed when it comes to the playoffs. So that's my thoughts on him. So that's my video for this week. I've been in Seattle for all of it, so next week I'll have even more time, and we'll hopefully do a longer video on something else. So I'm looking forward to getting started on that, and I will see you next Tuesday with another film review. Thank you for watching this one. Be sure to like and subscribe, and goodbye.